So the book is Financing Our Foodshed, Growing Local Food with Slow Money. Slow Money was the brainchild of Woody Tash. And he had this idea that you could take the concept of money, venture capital, investments, loans, and instead of sending it out to Wall Street, you could actually invest it right in your local community, and in particular in food. So the idea of slow food is that if we slow food down, you get more quality, more thoughtfulness, and it's just better all around. If you slow money down, you get the same result. There's more thoughtful attention to where your money goes. Is it doing good? Is it doing harm? And in particular, what if you tried to invest it right in your own local community, in sustainable farming, in businesses that support local food, that support soil fertility? What if we did that? What difference would that make? And we think it would make a huge difference. Several years ago, I got more interested in the local food movement and knew that one of the big obstacles for small farmers was capital to buy a farm, but even just small amounts of capital for a piece of equipment. So actually 30 years ago, when my husband and I moved to North Carolina, we were able to buy a very rundown place. But if we hadn't had a loan from a family member to help us get started, it was $10,000 at the time, it made all the difference. It took us years to pay it back. Interest rates were really high back in those days. But without that loan, we never would have gotten our business started. So here we are 30 years later, and we've been able to make a living, raise our kids, put them through school, and now it's time that I get a chance to pay it forward. So I've worked with other small businesses. I've worked over the years with artists, helping them get started. Now I find myself working also with farmers and local food businesses. And the small business skills that are needed and the capital that are needed are very similar. The Slow Money Project looks for small farmers and local food businesses that support farming. So for example, today we're here at Sweet Cheeks Bakery, and Jackie has the most marvelous story, Tim. When she first approached Slow Money for a $40,000 loan, we were just getting started. We had done one $2,000 loan, so we had done nothing even remotely close to 40. So unfortunately, we had to turn Jackie away and say, we have no idea. We're just getting this started. It's kind of an idea. We think it's a good idea, but we don't know how it's going to go. And I just wish we could help, but we can't right now. About a year later, she came back. By then, we'd practiced some more. We'd found other people that also wanted to make these small, affordable loans, and we'd done several by then. At this point, she only needed $4,000 or $5,000 for a mixer. She had kind of underbought and bought too small of a mixer. So she now was hoping to find maybe a 60-quart Hobart mixer. So that's the kind of project that we do. She was able to get a loan for the money that she needed to buy that mixer at a very low interest rate. Usually these loans are 2, 3, 4%, because the lender is not doing it for the money. The people that want to make these kinds of loans are very interested in the mission behind the slow money concept. They support the idea of building soil fertility. They support the idea of helping small farmers and local food businesses. And it's the social benefit as well as the financial benefit. So it's so interesting. People often ask me, who makes these loans? Who would make one of these loans? They're high risk. They're personal loans. They're risky because businesses can go out of business. A farmer can have a bad summer, can have a bad season. On the other hand, they tend to perform very, very well because people have made a connection, have built a friendship. These loans, I say, are based on three things: generosity, trust, and gratitude. And that's the picture of the lender and the borrower right there, and the trust in the middle is a big part of that. So the loans tend to perform very well. People often ask, have we had any defaults? And very, very few. Only on a couple of occasions where things did not go well. But even in those cases, those lenders are still trying to figure out a way to pay back those loans. So why do people lend? They lend because they care. I like to say that we lend because we can. Much like I said, it's important I'm trying now to pay it forward because a small loan is what helped my business get started with my husband, and our business get started 30 years ago. Because we can. I have a deep belief that people wake up in the morning and they don't only need food, clothing, and shelter. I think they actually want to make something happen that day. They want to go to bed at night knowing they did some good. And this project is a great way to do that. So here we are just about almost exactly 3 years later, and I've now facilitated about 80 loans in North Carolina to about almost 40 different small farmers and food businesses, and it totals over $720,000. The goal here is to build resilience in our local food shed. Almost all of the lenders were raised from very ordinary, if you will, working class or middle class upbringings, but they felt for different reasons. Everybody has their own personal reason, but they felt like this was very important, something they wanted to do. Either they were fed up with Wall Street and had taken all their money out and were looking to find places with meaning to invest it. That was the case with one person that did a $5,000 loan to one young couple. She did another $5,000 loan to someone winterizing a farmer's market. She was part of a large project we did with a $25,000 investment. So many people have made multiple loans. The big one, I'll tell you about that one just quickly. There were 16 people that put in $25,000. We brought $400,000 together, formed an LLC, and we refinanced the Chatham Marketplace, which is our local food co-op in Pittsburgh, North Carolina. They were facing a large balloon payment. They'd been in business about 3 years, and that loan was with a bank in Virginia. We were able to find 16 people, and they were all willing to take several points less interest, much less interest than the bank. And while they got a reasonable return, it cut the payment by a third. So they saved $2,500 a month because local people are now their bank, which actually leads me to why I wrote the book and why I wrote these stories down. One after another, they were very personal, heartwarming, sort of compelling stories. And I just felt that if I could share them with people, here in North Carolina as well as around the world and around the country, they might take a look and say, we can do this. I want to do this. And they can, and they could, wherever they live, in Kansas or Arkansas or Maine. And then that's exactly what's happening.